So once again, my name is Danny Gonzalez. I'm the Community Engagement Associate at the LA LGBT Center, and I help manage the Hello Club. We're so excited to have you all join us for this presentation and this training. Oh, didn't mean to do that. All right, so let's just jump on in. So the Hello Club, once again, was started back in March, originally as a COVID-19 response effort. Essentially, we really saw that there was a high need to really be prioritizing our LGBT seniors during this time. Our center is robust and incredible. In case y'all didn't know, we were founded in 1969, meaning that we just celebrated our 50th year in 2019. We've been around for a long time doing a plethora of work for the community. We are a federally qualified health center, meaning that people come to us for primary care, for STD appointments. We have a mental health department, so people come to us for therapy, for psychiatric emergencies, for anything of that sort. We have a functioning youth center that before the pandemic also acted as a drop-in space, meaning that any homeless youth was able to just come to us for a hot meal, for a shower, for some much needed love. With the pandemic going, that has pivoted a little bit. We have a transitionary living program that there's a couple of youth that are living within the facility of the center itself. So all really exciting things. And along with all of that, we have our senior center, which is one of the most heartwarming places in the world. It is an entire building. This is the LA LGBT Center behind me, and right behind this building is an entire huge, large building that is housing all of our senior services department, meaning that our seniors are able to be taken care of, provided with hot meals twice a day, provided with all the counseling that they need, all the personalized attention that they need, bereavement groups, social interaction groups. And we just had a holistic, wholesome experience that so many of our seniors were relying on us for. They were relying on us for their social interactions and for their love. Honestly, they oftentimes our LGBT seniors have had tougher lives than the average individuals. Some of them went through the AIDS epidemic and had to see a lot of loss in their lives. So now that they've reached this older age, some of them are a little bit lonelier and they're really looking for social connection. And so the senior center was really this place for them to find joy and find happiness. And now with the pandemic, everybody has been pushed inside their homes and isolation and loneliness has been really prevalent. Excuse me. And so to combat that, we've launched the Hello Club just to offer all of these seniors who are trailblazers, who are living history, the opportunity to feel loved, the opportunity to be reminded that they are remembered, that they are cherished, that they are looking, that somebody's looking out for them and somebody's looking for their best interest at heart. So it's a program that started out with our community's best interest at heart. Originally, we started out ensuring that everybody had everything that they needed for the pandemic to last. We wanted to make sure everybody had doctors, everybody had mental health, had grocery deliveries in case they didn't have food, ways to get food access, and all types of ways to really prioritize their overall health. In total, we called 3,000 seniors. So it was a huge feat at the beginning. And essentially, we were able to connect every single one of those with either a case manager with our senior services department, so a trained staff individual who knows this senior individually, or we were able to connect them personally with any resources that they need. Now we've pivoted a little bit because I was back in March, so it's been quite a couple of months, and we are proud to say all of our seniors in our program are doing well. They are connected to doctors, connected to therapists, connected to long-term care to ensure that they are going to be fine throughout the pandemic. That way, that why. But the social aspect is something that is not going to be going away anytime soon. And so we have pivoted the program to really be focusing less on ensuring that they have healthcare and ensuring that they have all of the necessities that they need for the pandemic, and more ensuring that they are doing okay socially and are appreciated and shown a little bit of love and warmth, and that somebody is just checking up on them. Because what we really got from the feedback from our seniors was that that was the most important part of the call, was besides the doctors and the dentists and the nurses, they liked having somebody reminding them that they're cared for. And so we wanted to ensure that this program continued in some capacity. So we asked each and every single one of our seniors whether or not they wanted to continue with this program. And then we've created the Hello Club again, and this is where you all are joining in. So this version of the program is a lot softer, a lot happier, a lot more energetic. Before it was a lot more urgent, which was necessity. By necessity, really, we were trying to make sure that every single one of our seniors was doing well. Now we know that baseline, they're doing okay. And now we're just making sure that they are feeling appreciated as often as we can. So we thank you. That's just a little bit of background of the Hello Club and what we are to get you up to date. And now I'm going to jump into the actual training. So once again, welcome. We are so delighted that you all are joining us. The Hello Club is a social call program, meaning that we are calling up our seniors through the phone and just offering them social, warm, fun, friendly interactions. This is a picture of two of our lovely seniors right here, just to start showing you who we're going to be talking to. They're average individuals just like us, who are lovely individuals, who are just looking for a little friendly hello over the phone. Our seniors, once again, have signed up for this program. They know that these calls are coming. At this point in the program, they've received around 10 calls. So they've been a part of the Hello Club for a while, and they are excited to talk to our volunteers. So it's a really low pressure situation. There's a very low likelihood that you're going to be finding anybody who is not going to be over the moon to talk to you. So it's really exciting. So what is a social call program? So essentially, it once again provides invaluable connections to our LGBT seniors, and we're really trying to fight elevated risks of loneliness and social isolation. Social conversations and just regular social interaction have proven to be so substantially beneficial for people's health, not only mental health, but physical health. Basically, so 1 in 5 seniors, not counting LGBT individuals, face social isolation. And those numbers are only radically higher for LGBT individuals. Those numbers are always a little bit harder to find, finding the LGBT specific numbers. But if you can imagine that 1 in 5 of the average seniors facing this issue, with LGBT elders, it's only that much more chronic. And this is a pandemic within the pandemic, really, because when people are feeling isolated and people are feeling lonely, it affects their physical health. It affects their blood pressure, affects their likelihood to catch things like heart disease or the flu, early onset dementia. So these calls are really benefiting them not only mentally, but physically in their own well-being to ensure that we have them around for a long, long time, because they are amazing people and we want them around for a long, long time. So your responsibilities are honestly very simple. You are going to be following a provided call script to offer our seniors a warm, friendly conversation and taking notes. The notes are just to ensure that our senior services department is able to follow up if they need to follow up, is able to connect them to a doctor if they need a doctor, or anything of that sort. And it's just to ensure that all of our loops get closed up. So what you should expect. So we're going to be connecting to our seniors using a phone dialing system called CallHub. The final part of this presentation is going to be a bit of a CallHub walkthrough. So I'll be showing you exactly which buttons to click and showing you, it's pretty simple to get through. Calls can be made from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. any day of the week, so Monday to Sunday. We found that usually most people answer from around 5 to 7 p.m., that after work periods, a little bit in the evening. People tend to be more active on their phones, but we leave this open for anybody to make this flexible within your own schedule, which is our next point. We want this to really be something that you can do and are excited to do whenever you have the opportunity. So the idea is that you shouldn't have to feel pressured to make calls every single day or for 3 hours at a time. You can just say, hey, you know what? It's a Tuesday night. I'm not really doing much. You know what sounds good? Calling up a senior and offering them a hello. So that's the way we want our volunteers to approach the program, in a way that fits into your own schedule, in a way that doesn't feel like it is large pressure on yourself, but also as a reminder that our seniors are out there waiting for us. So it's a priority for us. We want it to be a priority for you, but we do not want to put that unnecessary pressure. Once again, our seniors already love you. Like truly, they adore you already. They see that you're a friend. They see that you're a volunteer who's gone out of your way to call them, to connect through the LA LGBT Center, to go through this training, to enter through a call program, and to call them. You've gone through so many steps to show them this gratitude, to show them this kindness, and our seniors are very willing to chat your ear off and let you know that they appreciate every moment that you spend with them. And lastly, we are going to be providing with a call script to help you navigate the conversations, and that's what we're going to be going over next. So the call script, It is a very easy call script. I like to break it down just so you know exactly what you're going to be getting yourself into, and there's no surprises once you actually enter the calling area. So each of the scripts just starts off with this opening line. Hi there, this is Danny calling from the Hello Club at the LA LGBT Center. Is this a good time to talk? In the call script, as you can see below, this is exactly what it looks like within the Call Hub system. In there, you're able to state your pronouns if you prefer. That is totally up to you to use your own discretion in that sense. But the main important part of this is asking, is this a good time to talk? That is such a good introductory question because our seniors sometimes are busy like everybody else. Sometimes they're watching shows or cooking dinner, and asking them if this is a good time to talk lets them know that it's okay to say, I would like a call in about a week. I would like a call a little later. Or yeah, this is a great conversation time. And that gives you a great opening to just jump on in. The next is the icebreakers. And there's some suggested conversation starters. So basically, this is the meat and potatoes of the conversation because this is where we want you to be really diving into the full breadth of what you're getting into. You can start off with any of these icebreakers in case you wanted to get the conversation flowing. You don't really know how to start off, but this is really up to your own conversational style. I think that each person is their own individual who's gone through an organic way of finding conversations throughout their lives. And our seniors are genuine human beings, and you're able to start the conversation with them however feels natural. But we didn't want to leave you without a paddle. So in case you were coming up on a blank, these are always some good questions that you can lean back on. So how are you doing? How are you spending your time? How are you feeling? You can discuss ways that they've been distracting themselves while homebound, or just be creative and think of your own. Like I was just talking with Debbie, pets are a surefire way to connect to somebody. If they have a pet and you have a pet, boom, you both have a connection. You could talk about that for 30 minutes. You can talk about that for an extended period of time because that's your baby. And oftentimes, if it's a lonely senior who has a dog or a cat, that's their baby. So they're happy to talk about that for hours and hours and hours. So it's just about being yourself, and it's just about being creative and finding ways to pull a little conversation out of our seniors. Oftentimes they are chatty individuals and you will not need to be working too hard to get conversation flowing out of them. But in case you did, you could always lean back to these questions. Uh, so finally, the later portion of the script is our assessing needs section. This is essentially what we did in the first part of the COVID section. We just always like to ask this question to ensure that our seniors are remaining good and well taken care of. So basically it says, before we hang up, I wanted to ask if you needed any assistance in the following areas: housing, legal, government benefits, mental health, medical, case management, or essential/food items. We like to list them off just to remind our seniors anything that they can be taken care of. For example,
can we see this while we're in the training?
um,
While
yeah,
we're on the call hub, we'll be able to see these questions, and just as a reminder.
correct. So if you look
Okay.
in this bottom right hand corner, that was a great question. Thank you for asking. If you see in this bottom right hand corner, this is a screenshot directly from Call Hub. So this is
Okay.
what you'll be able to see along with the little note section right beneath it where you're able to fill out the answers. So for example, you can just say, senior is looking for help with housing. You are not responsible for being an expert in any of these areas, nor do we want you to be. We just want you to be somebody who can flag any of these needs. So it could be something as simple as uh, senior needs help with medical, senior needs help with mental health. It could be that simple. And once you put that into our note section, a case manager or a senior services staff member will be calling up that same senior that you talked to ensure that they get the full details and ensure that they can have the back and forth that needs to be happening. This is just to ensure that you can waive any flags that need to be waived. Oftentimes, this they know what's coming and they know that they are ready to say, I'm all good. I appreciate your call. Don't worry about it. But we do like to ask every single time just to ensure anything new that comes up that they have an outlet to let somebody know that they need a little bit of help. And then you could always finish it out by saying, I will submit your request to senior services staff and they'll get back to you as soon as possible. So here, and that was basically our full call script. It is a whopping 3 questions. So you have, once again, your opening line, which is basically, is this a good time to talk? The full conversation. And this part is so malleable to your own needs. And we did this intentionally. We want this to be organic. We want this to be free-flowing so that you don't feel confined to a really rigid script. Our original script had 16 questions. We cut it down to 3 because we feel that this is a lot more organic, and we feel that this offers a lot more avenues for you to have an organic conversation with our seniors. And then our assessing needs section, just to ensure that our seniors are A-okay and continuing to do that way. We like to think that it's pretty simple. Did anybody have any questions before I move on from the script?
Actually, I wanted to ask if they mention something that they need that isn't in any of these categories, we go ahead and send that in also.
Please do. Yes,
Right.
absolutely. And anything that they may need, from the sky and the stars to the moon and the earth, you could let us know and we'll be happy to do our best. You know, there's some things that we can't help with. Oftentimes, our seniors can be creative and ask for something that you don't know if you can help with. Just put
Right.
it in the notes and we'll have a senior services staff member deal with that and make sure to call them back and say, I don't know if we could help with that, but it's not in
Okay.
your hands. You can just say, yes, I will pass it along.
All right, great.
And I was wondering, this might be, actually, it definitely is my therapist's brain speaking, but if someone does talk about, wanting to harm themselves or, being in a really bad place, who can we contact to make sure that something happens?
Thank you. That is a fabulous question. So at the end of this, I'm going to be going over non-emergency and emergency situations. So in case somebody does say that they are looking to harm themselves or in a really dark place, we do have a resource that we'll be talking about a little bit later. But thank you for bringing that up.
Of course. Thank you, Danny.
Of course.
Yes, I was thinking along the same line, how not to turn it into a therapy session. It's a hello club. But usually, how long would the conversation last? You say 15 to 20 minutes?
Just around there, yeah. So it depends on the senior themselves. Some of them they just like to hear that somebody's calling. So it could be as quick as a 2-minute call saying like, yeah, I'm good. And they feel good that somebody called. Others like to chat. They'll give you a 20-minute conversation. We do have a few chatty Cathys in the group that will talk to you for as long as you will allow them. The Call Hub system will cut you off at 1 hour. So if you reach 1 hour, the system will say, thank you for calling, and it will cut you off. So that is something that I should mention. But usually the calls will last maximum around 45 minutes. But 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes is a successful call. We think that would be really good. The longer you can get, as long as it's comfortable, the better.
Are the phone calls going to be, this kind of two-part, through the computer, and are they phone calls or video calls?
Phone calls, and they are through the computer. And I will be showing you the Call Hub system at the end of this to ensure that you know exactly which buttons you'll be pressing. Great questions, everyone. Thank you. All right, and so now I'm going to be moving on to some do's and don'ts for the Hello Club. This is just from our experience with some other Hello Club members, and we just wanted to pass it along to you all. So some do's: please have a fun, friendly conversation. This is supposed to be an exciting time for you and our senior, a happy individual, happy experience. Please be sensitive to issues regarding culture, religion, values, and other potential differences. This is like with any other conversation that you have. Just be willing and open-minded to talk about things that may not be the same as yours, but always the next point, be willing and able to redirect. We don't want you to feel uncomfortable in any of these conversations. We don't want you to feel that you're talking about something that's a little touchy if you don't want to. So here's an example of ways that you can redirect or pivot. And you're totally allowed to do this. We encourage this. So that's an interesting point of view, but I prefer to talk about something else. How's your dog? For example, we just went through an election. If you don't want to talk about the election that just happened, that is A-okay. You can say, I don't really like to talk about politics. Would you mind talking about your favorite book? What's your favorite movie? It can feel a little icky and can feel a little awkward to try to pivot, but it's better than sticking in a conversation that makes you feel uncomfortable. We don't want that to happen to you, so please feel free to pivot. And if the senior is like pushing in on leading that conversation, just keep trying to pivot. We want you to feel comfortable to be able to do that. And then please do report any needs or assess any needs that our seniors are looking to have addressed by our senior services staff. And here's our don'ts. Please do not accept any gifts or gratuities from our seniors. They are lovely individuals, but we are volunteers and we're not looking for gifts or gratuities at this time. And that includes, as cliche as it sounds, I've been offered a knitted sweater, which is, it was a hard turn down, but we're not allowed to give out our personal information, including our address. So we just ask that you just stay away from that in general. Please do not give financial advice. We're not experts in these fields. We don't want to give anybody financial advice, especially in a pandemic. So just stick away from that topic if you can. Please do not give any medical advice. Within the pandemic, once again, it is totally okay to say that somebody should go see a doctor. It's not okay to say, hey, I see that rash. I think that you should mix lemon and turmeric and leave it on overnight. That's medical advice in a different sense, and we don't recommend that at all. Please do not give out personal information like I mentioned earlier. So that includes a phone number, do not give out your email information, do not give out your address. And this is for your own personal safety and also just to ensure that everybody's privacy is maintained. Our seniors are sweet, sweet, sweet individuals, but some of them do get a little carried away. So if you give them your phone number, there is no guarantee that you will not be receiving calls at 10 p.m. or on Sunday morning or on a Tuesday afternoon, whenever they're feeling it, because now you're a friend. So we just ask to keep that firm boundary and just do not give out personal information. And then please do not overshare or over-personalize. This point is a little tricky because the conversation is naturally a back and forth. We want you to feel comfortable expressing yourself and letting people know who you are and your story. That's totally okay. But the point of these calls is to ensure that our seniors are okay and to ensure that our seniors are doing well. So we always ask that you just pivot it back to the seniors. You're totally allowed to talk about yourself and talk about your dog and how amazing your dog is, but always try to pivot it back and ask about them. Try to make the conversation not surround around you. Sometimes that just happens, especially with our seniors. They want to know about you and every detail in your life, which is totally great and totally understandable. But we just ask that you center it back to our seniors.
Is it okay for us to share if we are also a member of the LGBTQ plus community?
Yes, please do. If you're totally comfortable with that, we absolutely encourage it. I think it's always a great starting point, especially most of our seniors are LGBT seniors. There are a couple of handful who are allies, but for the most part, you're most likely going to be talking to an LGBT senior as well.
I don't know if you're going to get to this a little later, but are we going to be speaking or have a relationship with the same person? How does that work? Are we assigned to people or we just look on a list and go, okay, I'm going to call that person?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, on that note, I have been having this burning question. How do we make sure that we don't call the same person twice to, like 2 hour after hour?
That makes sense. So the call hub system that we're all going to be a part of at the end of this basically splits our list into 6 separate groups. And so each of our volunteers is going to be part of one of these 6 groups. So most likely you'll be calling back the same people, but not necessarily in the exact order. So say all of the people here were assigned to one group, it would be around 40 or 50 seniors that we're assigned to. And whenever that campaign refreshes, we'll be calling the same individuals. So say, Joanne, you called somebody, they would be off the list, and then Debbie called the next person, they'd be calling the person on the list, and it's automated through the system to ensure that nobody calls the same individual and to ensure that everything moves through the process okay. But you will not be seeing any actual list of any sort. You're just going to be able to log in, and once you click next call, you're going to see the name of the person you're about to be calling, but you won't see their phone number. You'll just see any information that they've had previously. So you're able to see sometimes what past calls that they've had. So you're able to see like, oh, their dog's named Bowie. They asked for a doctor last time and have a conversation based off that. So you're able to build off the last person's information, but really the relationship building is a little bit more long-term. If you're with us in the program often, you will definitely be talking to the same individuals. We're calling the same 300 people over and over and over. So oftentimes, if our volunteers are with us for a while, they really do develop close relationships to some of our seniors. All right. So now I just wanted to go over some of the LA LGBT Center resources just in a little bit more detail to ensure that you know how we are taking care of our seniors, and once you do submit any notes, how they're going to be taken care of. So the LA LGBT Center, as I mentioned earlier, is a federally qualified health center, meaning that we have primary care along with mental health within our own facilities. And whenever we can, we like to refer everybody within house. We specialize in LGBT care. So if we have somebody who is an LGBT elder, we would love to connect them to that. That being said, with the pandemic, our rates of people coming to us have increased dramatically, which makes perfect sense. We are open for COVID testing. We are open for STD testing. So it makes sense that people are coming to us from far and wide. And along with mental health, this is a hard time for quite a few people. So our mental health appointments have been more booked than ever, honestly. And so before, our wait times was pretty short, especially towards the beginning of the pandemic. We were able to connect any of our seniors to mental health or medical health pretty rapidly. Now, unfortunately, that wait time has increased. Oftentimes, we like to let our seniors know that if they're requesting mental or medical health, they'll be hearing back in about 2 weeks, which is definitely not ideal. And we definitely understand that. We are working day and night to improve those numbers and to try to reduce that wait time. We wanted to be upfront with the realities that we're facing against the pandemic. And we're trying our hardest, but it's just the reality at the moment. And our senior services program, as I mentioned earlier, does a plethora of work, including case management, food delivery services. They host virtual events all the time via Zoom now, just to keep our seniors engaged at home. We recognize that a lot of them are a little bored. And so we're trying to do our best to invite them and excite them to anything that we can do. There's also the Senior Services Help Desk. So this is a number that you'll be able to have. We're going to have an FAQ sheet that's coming out soon that you'll be able to open up with this number. And this is your callback number. So any senior that gets a phone call from you will be seeing this 323-860-5830 number. They will not be seeing your personal phone number. They'll be seeing this phone number, which is the Senior Services Help Desk line. So if they call you back and they just missed the call, they call you back, they're going to be directed directly to Senior Services, which is fantastic. That's where we want them to go. They can leave a voicemail directly with their senior services staff to ensure that their information gets directly to the people that need it. All right. Next, we're going to be discussing, which are, I think, Kelsey mentioned earlier, our non-emergency red flags and information for emergency situations as well. We have made about 7,000 calls since we launched in March, and we have thankfully only had one emergency situation, one. So that's a really low number that we're really grateful to have experienced. So we want to pass that along to ensure that y'all know that there is a low likelihood of an emergency happening. We just like to prepare you just in case. We prefer you have this information and not need it, than need it and not have it. So in the case of a non-emergency, this is just something that is not necessarily life or death, but something that you think needs a little bit of attention. Indications of self-neglect, ongoing medical issues, things like that, you can fill out within our notes section. There's a note section at the bottom of the script, which we'll be going over and along throughout the entire script. And you're able to input anything that is going on. For example, at the beginning of our pandemic, we had a senior who had a swollen knee that was getting infected. Not necessarily life or death. This individual was having trouble walking though, so we wanted to make sure that it got handled quickly. Within 2 days after our volunteer emailed me, I got that connected to our senior services staff, and we got the senior a doctor's appointment the next day. So we were able to ensure that this senior was well taken care of. It was not necessarily an emergency, but I would argue it was a red flag. We wanted to make sure that it was taken care of right away. In that case, once again, you can fill out the script section, or if it's a little bit more high urgency, but you wouldn't call it a medical emergency, you can always email either me or the director of programming with our senior services director directly. His name is Michael McFadden. You have his email right here. This information is also going to be coming at you in an FAQ sheet after this meeting. So you'll have my information with my email along with Michael McFadden. So you can email either of us, and we are pretty quick to respond to ensure that our seniors are well taken care of and get any sort of emergency situation qualmed and squashed as quick as possible. In the case of an emergency situation, so this is closer to life or death, but really just like that emergency situation, we really do recommend the standard of practice with medical care is calling 911 if it is a life or death emergency. Ideally, a senior would not be answering the phone, and especially with that first call, is this a good time to talk? If this is not a good time to talk, they will let you know. Hopefully you have not gotten far enough in the call and they reveal to you that you have a medical emergency. The one that we did have, we had a senior who answered the phone while he was driving, which was already a red flag. He shouldn't have done that, but then revealed to us that he was feeling confused and he didn't remember where he was going. So we asked him to pull over, and we did not resort to 911 this one. We actually asked him to call his primary care person who was taking care of him, who went over to pick them up. So this was one of those situations where that was an emergency. That was absolutely something that needed to be handled immediately. So if you can call 911 for those situations, that's great. But once again, if it's something that we can handle, please refer to me or Michael McFadden. We were able to have the senior call, once again, their loved one to have them pick them up. So that was able to be squashed without a 911 emergency, but we want you to feel the need and the ability to call 911 if that is the case. In the case of mental health, we do not recommend 911. We do not know if those are people that we want on the scene dealing with a high mental health emergency. Instead, if somebody is showing signs of helplessness or suicidal ideation, we actually recommend that you have them call the LA County Department of Mental Health 24/7 hotline. So this is a 24/7 hotline that is helping people connect to therapists, psychiatrists, healthcare professionals that are around the clock 24/7 hours a day. So you are going to be able to receive this information along with our FAQ sheets. Just so you have this information as you're making calls. It's a 1-800 number that you're able to connect them to. As I mentioned earlier, our wait times are a little long right now. So if somebody is showing signs that they need immediate care, that they need care that is a little faster, this Department of Mental Health hotline is our strongest option to direct them to somebody that can talk them through the situation and ensure that they are connected to a mental health professional as quick as possible. Because especially if they're showing signs of suicidal ideation, we want that handled that day. We want that handled immediately, and the center may not be able to handle anything like that on a moment's notice. So if you direct them to this hotline, they can really, really help in a suicidal ideation moment. All right, so that was the end of my presentation. Please let me know. This is a great time to ask any further questions. I'm happy to answer anything. I recognize that that is a heavy way to end the session, but I do want to remind you that this has happened once. And for the most part, this is the chunk of our Hello Club experience, which is 3 sections, 3 questions with a quick little hello at the beginning, a good chunk of information of just how you're doing and how you're feeling and how your dog is doing, and then ensuring that they are good for the remaining couple of weeks until the next call. Did anybody have any questions? I'm happy to answer anything.
So it's kind of how the system, with regard to how the system works. If someone wants Joanne to call them back next week, can Joanne call that person directly?
Unfortunately, it does not work that way. So if somebody is just looking to get a call next week, within which I'll show right now, you're able to put that information in as no answer, and they're basically booted to the bottom of the list. So most likely they'll get a call within the next 2-3 weeks. So unfortunately, we can't set it up just yet. The limitations of the system, unfortunately, don't allow us to directly say this volunteer will call this one senior.
And the seniors understand that, right?
Definitely.
Okay.
All right.
And you said that we were going to be provided with an FAQ sheet. How are we? Are you going to email us? How are we going to get it?
Correct. So I'm going to be either connecting with Valencia to get all of your information or sending Valencia this information to distribute to all of you, which is going to be the recording of this training PowerPoint, the actual PowerPoint that I just went over, along with a video that's going to be this Call Hub walkthrough that I'm about to go through right now. So you're going to get all of that information and the FAQ sheet within your own personal files so that you're able to reference them as you're making calls.
Okay, so Valencia is in charge.
I'm going to put my email on my name here. And if you guys can just send me your emails, I have Alexis and Colleen already. The rest of you can send it.
I wonder, like, if something were to happen to someone we're chatting with, how would we be able to follow up with them to know how they were doing and to make sure, like you mentioned, I mean, God forbid we have to call the hotline,
right?
Mental health hotline. But so we're just kind of telling them, okay, I think you should call this number and then leave it up to them to call?
For the time being, if it's in a high mental health emergency.
Right.
And then the idea would be that within the next couple of hours, if it's within the working hour, if it's 11 a.m., you let us know and we're going to have a center staff member call them up, ensure that they have
Oh,
all
and
the
check on
records
them.
that they need.
Okay,
But if it's say like at 7 p.m. after the workday ends,
right.
we'll have somebody check in on them the next morning.
Okay,
We
good.
just wanted to ensure that you had that information, just kind of in case anything happened. But we are open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if it's within those hours, you can just call us up and we will connect the center staff to to have a staff member who's trained in this walk them through this. We don't really expect any of our volunteers to have that training to help walk through somebody that is really dealing with something that heavy. So
Yeah.
You'll email us all of the contact information that we need to.
yes, absolutely.
And we can call you and follow up, right? To say, hey, I just wanted to call and see what happened with such and such. And
Yes.
we can call you guys. Okay.
What happened
Please
to
do.
the chat?
That's so heartwarming for me to hear. Yes, I would love it if any volunteer. We have had a few volunteers who've cared that much, but that warms my heart to hear that volunteers care that much to say like, I need to check on a senior to see how they're doing after I've had this conversation. Yes, you can always
Yeah.
check on with me, and I'd be happy to walk you through.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All
That's
right.
such a good point, Alexis. I was thinking the same thing.
Good. Nice.
Well, look, you talk, that's like the social worker in me. I'm like, we identify a red flag and we just supposed to kind of,
And then
I'm like, call on three-way, click over and call and click back. I want to make sure.
good.
That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, what, can I like
Wait a minute.
get the line on?
Yes. I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Alexis, you're a social worker. Joanne's also a psychologist, graduate psychologist, and what do you guys all work in? Let's see, Valencia, Debbie, and the beautiful dog. I don't see your name.
Colleen.
Colleen. Hello. Yes. I don't know. Maybe it's the mental health worker in me too, Alexis, and my brain is going probably where it doesn't need to.
Yeah.
I'm retired from the state of California Department of Mental Health, so I understand.
Oh, wow.
It is. Wow, y'all are amazing.
That's some
Sorry, I
lucky
have a follow-up
seniors.
question to Valencia's question. So if the senior say, "Oh, so Joanne, I don't talk to you again," a scripted answer could be, I might get you the next time. Okay. So it will not always be the same person, but I would say I might get you the next time. We won't say that we will call you again. Okay.
That's a good answer.
And is this is just at our own scheduling, at our convenience? Is there any guidelines with how frequent, or is it up to us?
Totally up to you. We have some volunteers that make calls every week, sometimes multiple times a week. We have quite a few volunteers who make some calls maybe once every 2 weeks. And it really depends on your frequency. We have a lot of volunteers who make calls until they get a nice juicy one that's 30 minutes and they're like, okay, I'm done for the day. That seems to be a pretty fair way that most people handle it. All right.
Rodney, do you have a question?
The next section that I'm going to be going into is our Call Hub actual walkthrough. This is our calling system. So this is a little bit technical, so please bear with me. If you have any questions along the way, please feel free to ask. And again, you are not expected to remember all of this information just throughout this one presentation. You're going to have a recording of this training, and then a walkthrough that's about a 6-minute video of this snippet that you're able to reference moving forward. It's pretty simple once you actually get situated. It's not that hard, but it's a little intimidating when you're first getting onboarded. So I just wanted to give you the preface before we jump on in. So I didn't want y'all intimidated. All right, let me share this. All right. So the first step is going to be going to callhub.io. It's .io, not .com, .org. I have no idea why that is, but it's callhub.io. And the first thing you're going to do is log in. So this login information, you're going to be sent directly from CallHub. When I first send you the information, once I get your email addresses, you're going to be getting a email directly from CallHub to set up your account. You're going to be having some sort of preset username, which is going to be a combination of your first name, last name. For this purpose, I'm just going to be using a test account. And once you log on in, it's going to look like this. You're going to see a blue button in the corner that says join campaign, and you'll be able to see your name up in the top right-hand corner to show that you are successfully in here. And this is what your script is going to look like. This is the first time you're able to see it, so you're able to go through it at your own discretion. You're also able to see this once you actually join the campaign. This is just a standby lobby for you to really get a chance to look at everything that you are going to be jumping in. The first portion is a voicemail script because if you get a voicemail, you want that information right away. And then the second portion is our actual call script. So it's divided in those two sections, the voicemail script, which is just, hey, this is Danny calling from the Hello Club. I wanted to check in how you're doing. We'll try to reach you another day. And you can leave the second portion with that number that they can reach back on. And then there's the call script, which is what we went over earlier, which is this a good time to talk? Your conversation starters, and then your assessing needs, and you're able to submit notes and close out the call. So let me jump on in to show you exactly how this looks. So this is a fake campaign. This I only have connected to one number, which is my cell phone. So we will not be calling any seniors, but usually you'll be calling seniors when you're actually doing this. So you're going to be doing clicking join campaign. And at this point, it's going to be asking you to input your phone number. So once you input your phone number, the physical system will call your phone. So once it calls your phone, you can answer. And once you're answered, you are now successfully connected. If you, over the phone, it says, you are now successfully connected to the call campaign. That's how you know that you're sitting pretty. Right now, you're not talking to any seniors just yet. This is basically like the page you were at before, where you can just look through the voicemail script and see exactly what you're going to be doing. But you are not calling anybody yet. This is basically a nice in-between zone. Once you connect your phone at this point, you'll actually be hearing some smooth jazz music. It's almost like elevator music that's playing as a lobby, just letting you know that you're sitting pretty and almost there. This is the section where a lot of people get caught up because they get logged in and they're like, how do I call the seniors? The button that you need to press is this green next call button. Once you click that button, it should really say start or something. Once you click that next call button, that's when you're going to get thrown directly into a senior. So as soon as you do that, it's going to start ringing and you'll see on the screen that pops up, it'll say Mary Sue Weathers, Barbara Joe, and you'll be able to know, okay, I'm going to be talking to Barbara today, and it's going to be able to go like that. The main difference when you actually select that button is this hang up button lights up. So the hang up button is how you disconnect from this senior individually. If you disconnect from your phone, you're going to get clicked out of the whole system and you have to log back in. The way that the system works is once you're logged in with your phone, that's basically one session, and each individual senior is still within that session. So you just have to hang up using this button as opposed to your actual phone to hang up. So let me show you. As I mentioned before, it's just my cell phone that's going to be called, so no seniors are bothered by this process. So once you click next call, you can see it clicks calling. And at this point, my cell phone is ringing. So it's able to see, and I'm able to see that it's the callback number that I just mentioned, the senior help desk line. So nobody will ever see your personal information. They will only be seeing that help desk line. And here, as you can see that I'm calling Danny, and right now there's no history. Oh, there is. But you can see I've been called a month. You can see what questions have been answered and things of that sort. So even as the phone is ringing, you're already getting information. And now that you are connected, all of these sections have actually lit up, so they're fillable now. So if you go through the call script, you can say, hi, this is Danny. My pronouns are he, him, his, calling from the Hello Club. Is this a good time to talk? And now this drops down. So you can put, yes, this person did want to talk, or no, this person did not want to talk. This lets us sort things out in the system to ensure we call back the people that need to be called back, and that we don't bother the people that have already been answered. So I did answer the phone, and we're going to keep going through the conversation. How are you doing? I'm doing great. Before we hang up, I wanted to ask if you needed assistance in any of these questions, and you could do something as simple as senior needs help with housing. It could be that simple, and now our senior services staff knows exactly who we need to talk to. And closing out the call. So this is just basically saying, thank you so much for the call. I've had a great time talking to you today. If they want the senior help desk number, you can give that to them, or an email address they can use is seniors@lalgbtcenter.org. And last but not least, is the set call disposition. So this one is basically functions like I mentioned earlier. It's just to ensure that our data gets added to the right piles. We have 4 options: do not call, answer, left message, and no answer. Do not call is used once in a blue moon in case the senior is like, you know what, I've loved the Hello Club, but I don't really want to be a part of your list anymore. That's totally cool. You can say do not call, and they are automatically removed from our lists. If they did answer the phone, you just put answer. That's for most of them. They answered the phone, pretty self-explanatory. Left message is if you actually left a voicemail. These two, answer and left message, are the ones that you're going to be filling out the most. Either they answered the phone or you left them a voicemail. Sometimes there's no voicemail box. Sometimes voicemail is broken. They didn't set it up. Things like that. You can put no answer in as opposed to left message. So once again, it's pretty simple. Once you're actually going through it, there's just one drop-down menu and then one note section. And then here's some more notes in case there's more detail that you wanted to add. This senior had a swollen knee and needs somebody to talk to them, something of that sort. And then once you do that, you're able to click, oh, I need to move. Save and next, and that will connect you to your next senior, and you'll be able to go on with the process and continue until your heart is content and you feel you've called enough seniors, and then you are done for the day until you log back in. So once again, it is fairly simple. Once you get settled within the system, you'll be used to it within 2 days. You'll be making calls, hanging up like a pro. So I truly do believe in you. It's just the beginning. It is a little bit intimidating. So I'm going to be sending you once again a walkthrough, and I'm happy to help you individually. If this is a little confusing for you, if you're somebody who's not super duper tech savvy, totally fine. I am happy to walk you through this individually and answer any questions that you are facing or struggling. Did anybody have any questions about that?
No, but a curiosity question. How often do they get recycled back to the call list?
That's a great question. So we wait until each one of our seniors has been called to refresh all of them, to essentially ensure that each of our seniors is called accurately and within a timely manner. So usually that's within about 3 weeks or so. Originally, when the program first started, we were refreshing every week, every couple of days. But as our volunteers have kind of dwindled down a little bit, the wait time has extended a little bit. We're trying our hardest and our due diligence to get more Hello Club volunteers in and get as many volunteers as we can get going so that our wait times are tiny for our seniors. We would love it if it was only 1 week. I know our seniors would love to talk to us as often as possible, but the reality is right now about 3 weeks.
Yeah, we're going to try and help too.
Yes, I love that.
Is there a link we can share on social media to help get our friends involved?
Yes, LALGBT. Let me put it in the chat.
Awesome,
Hello
thank you.
Club. It's just LALGBTcenter.org/Hello Club. You could send that anywhere, and that basically sends them to our volunteer portal where they're able to sign up as a volunteer and go through the process of doing this. And they'll get an email from me and hopefully get a training presentation just like this one that y'all are receiving right now and get connected.
Rodney, did you have a question?
Yeah, I had a quick question. How you doing, man?
Good.
Hey, everybody. Since we're calling during the holidays, we don't know what someone's religious background is. Is it all right to say like happy holidays, or what's the preferred, way to, because you wouldn't want to say Merry Christmas because we don't know,
Exactly. I think happy holidays is the safe option. I'm a Christmas kid for sure, but we don't know the religious affiliation of everybody that's around. So I think happy holidays is a safe way to go through the message. And even if they don't celebrate the holidays, I think the sentiment is felt regardless when you say it.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. Did anybody else have any questions?
Not a question, but maybe a note to you and to Colleen and Valencia. I'm pretty tied up until the 18th of December. So I'll be free during the holidays. So I won't be doing calls before the 18th of December. I hope that's okay with you, but I'll be calling during the holiday period. I think that might be, some time that they need someone to talk to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. We definitely understand. We have quite a few people who, especially with the pandemic, their schedules change on a dime often. So that's why we designed this to be so flexible. We would love to have you on the 18th. We would love to have you whenever you're available for making calls. Our seniors will be here and are excited to hear from you. Did anybody else have any questions? All right. Well, I want to thank you all so much for all of your time. I appreciate each and every one of you for stepping up to call our seniors. I hope this was helpful and informative. Once I get all of your emails from Valencia, I'll be sure to send you all of the information that you need, to get on board with the Hello Club. And I want to thank you again so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny.
Appreciate it.